Hello everyone, it's Lennon and welcome to the channel. Today I'm gonna explore my inner child. I don't know where this is gonna go, okay? We'll see. Now, there are a lot of videos out there on inner child work, healing the inner child, how to do that and what have you, okay? But I think that I'll probably get a little bit more personal in this video. Probably I can't help it, all right? So what conjured this video topic was the fact that I was in the car and we were doing the scanner, all right, to like go from channel to channel to channel because there was nothing on the radio, okay, that particular day. And it landed on a new country music station that's here in my state that I had never heard of. And there happened to be like an old country, probably like, I think it was Tammy Wynette. And I was like, wow, they're playing the old stuff, you know, the old school stuff, like well I call old school. And so we kind of listened to a couple of songs, you know, and we were kind of singing along and I was like, man, this is, and it's like I got a rush of memories of being in the car with my own mom, going to school, you know, being a kid, listening to country music and all that. And I got to thinking, I kept thinking that my inner child was trying to tell me something by listening to this. Now, a little backstory. As an adult right now, I'm more of a rocker chick. I don't listen to country music. Not on the regular, all right? Definitely not. I'm more, you know, me and my family tend to go more towards the classic rock, heavier rock, alternative, metal. We're you know, okay? We're rocker people. But growing up, I very much listened to country music. It was the thing. And I guess what you would say, classic rock was like my dad music, but country music was like my mom music, what she would be having it playing in the car, or on the radio in the house, you know, like while she was like, you know, doing housework or whatever. So it was very much a thing. Now, I guess some foundation work here. I was born and raised here in Georgia that is considered the Deep South. Country music is like in my blood, but I don't listen to it. But in this car ride that day, I kept thinking, my inner child's trying to tell me something. Let me explore this for a little bit. And so I kind of got home that day and I made like a YouTube playlist of some of the songs that I could remember, which led me to other songs, And I kind of like spent the next couple of days listening to some of this, what I was like my childhood country music. Okay. And this is like Diamond Rio, Reba, okay, Alan Jackson, Clint Black, George Strait, you know. They're very popular artists in the country music scene, but they're still, I guess, what I grew up on is where I'm going with where I went with this playlist, songs that I listened to growing up. And so I kept trying to nurture my inner child through this, but the question that kept coming up was why don't I listen to this now? Why am I getting such visceral reactions listening to it? Like, why don't I listen to it on the regular now? Why, when I'm actively listening to it, why it fills me with such visceral reactions, negative and positive, okay? So a little shadow has come into this. And what the tropes are. That, like, what are the, like, overarching tropes of country damn music. And what it's kind of taught me about life. And it's kind of like, it's not so much that I'm healing the inner child. It's more that I'm just like sitting with her, listening to this music and going through my, like questioning why I have certain morals. And like if I were to just transport myself into another part of the country, would I have culture shock? Because, you know, if you come down here, you very much get culture shock. A lot of people have told me this in their, over the course of my life, that if I meet someone that's from another part of the country, especially outside of the South, okay, the southern states, North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, okay, Georgia, Florida, right, the Deep South. If you're outside of that and come down here, they always used to tell, you know, growing up, they told me that there's like a culture shock. Things are different down here. So it's mostly like this inner child work has stemmed around what Southern culture has done to and for me. I mean, if you want some tropes for country music, there are love songs, heartbreak songs, cheating songs, and maybe like general life songs, like morals, okay? Southern, I will say this. A lot of the life songs have like a moral of the story, okay? Which is stemmed deep into Deep South culture. All right? I'm going to go over a little bit of that in a minute. But the love songs kind of teach you about like what love is supposed to look like, all right? And a lot of that stems from what I would consider the South American dream. And that's, you know, the typical American dream, but with a little bit more Southern culture in it. It's, typically you grew up with your significant other, okay? You live in like a, you know, a 30-mile radius, and that's it. You knew your significant other from childhood. You grew up together, then you fall in love, then you get married. You have some babies, and there's no like real living involved. We're basically like living to work down here instead of working to live. All right. There's a lot of work, okay? Living paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. All right. And not much living, just as like an overarching theme down here. The man is a tradesman of some kind and works himself into alcoholism or a stress-induced heart attack by 60. Okay? Just laying it out for you. All right? Now, I'm sure that this happens in other parts of the country. I'm just saying that's what's happening here. That I see. You know, it's like there's so much that goes into the American dream, but there's a lot of shadow in that for me. Because I believe that family, okay, and relationships is what you put into them. It shouldn't be a laid out structure like this, like the American dream is. I don't necessarily believe that it should be that love in the American dream and living your life should have some sort of structure. But that's very much what you're taught down here, is that your life is supposed to have a structure, and if you do it out of order, this actually has happened to me. I got pregnant the very first time, out of wedlock, okay? And there was a lot of backlash from my family, like my outer family, right? Like aunts and uncles and stuff, you know? There was a lot of backlash back then from them, like that I didn't do it right, whatever the fuck that means. So I had a lot of issues with the whole, the how I was supposed to do it, and because I didn't do it, I felt like an outcast, because I didn't do it right, okay? Now, I'm not saying that having babies out of wedlock or whatever, like if you have that as a moral and value, okay, fine, all right? I'm just saying I never really took much stock into that. Like, I knew that I would marry this guy, okay? I ended up getting knocked up before, you know? So, you know, kill me, all right? Disown me like you threatened. But anyway, that's another thing, okay? It's another kind of a Southern culture trope that's in a lot of the songs you'll listen to, is the concept of family ties. Blood is thicker than water. If you have to sever a tie that is familial, okay, the rest of your damn family is going to come at you, right? Like, oh, no, you can't be doing that. You got to talk. You need to call them right now and make up. I will sit here and hold your hand and drink coffee with you while you do this, okay? It's not a thing here, okay? Because there's this whole thing about family and how there's something about this family bond that you're not supposed to sever or some shit, you know? Even if you need to, you don't feel like you can or that you're allowed, okay? So that's very much rooted in Southern culture. Another trope that's in a lot of the songs in country music is this whole thing about whiskey healing, okay? There's healing properties to whiskey, all right? Let's not even mention the fact that the distilleries for those alcohols are here in the Deep South, okay? So, you know, there's that. Like, my dad took shots of whiskey every night, and he always, like, up until the day he died, like, he called it his medicine. Okay, so that's a big trope here, is that somehow like whiskey heals. Okay. That like alcoholism is a preferred medicine. But I guess on lighter notes, things that country music makes me think of is of course my like manners. There's just certain things in terms of manners that you do that are like deeply ingrained into you from childhood that are in a lot of the songs. Like the whistle of a train soothes. Okay. Growing up, we lived in a house that didn't have like central heating and air, so we had this furnace, okay, in the floor. We lived in like this little bitty shack, and we had this furnace in the middle of the house that sat on the floor, and then we had like a window unit in the house in the summer, but it's still really fucking hot, you know. And at night, our windows in my bedroom would be open, right? Like my sister and I shared a room, and our windows would be open, and about midnight every night a train would go by, and it was about a mile, I think it was a mile from the house, so it was just faint enough. Now it was faint because the trees, okay, in the summer there's more foliage on the trees. Now, if my windows had been open in the winter, it probably would have been louder than it was, you know, with no leaves on the trees as buffers. But in the summer, it was just faint enough to put me to sleep. I remember that very fondly. This whole being put to sleep by a train whistle. So, and, you know, I don't know if you have that anywhere else in the country or the world, but the train whistle very much soothes you to sleep here in the South. It's like a lullaby. And there are a lot of songs about that in Southern music. To me, I think that there's a lot of after death work too, in country music. Like ghosts are real. Okay. I love the song Midnight in Montgomery by Alan Jackson. Basically, he's on a trip to go to a concert, but he stopped off and made kind of like a pilgrimage to Hank Williams's grave, right? It's beautiful. Anyway, the song tells about him being at the grave and then him seeing kind of an apparition of Hank, you know? That song still gives me chills to this day. Okay, I remember listening to it when I was a kid and just going, ghosts are real. You can see them. Go visit the dead, right? Like it's this whole like veneration thing that we have. I mean, and like I said, you probably have this everywhere else, but there is a veneration for the dead here. There's a very powerful ancestral, especially familial, but it doesn't have to be because, you know, I don't think Alan Jackson's related to Hank Williams. But there's this whole concept of let's venerate our dead. And then also, age is graceful. There's a lot of songs in country music about the aging process, getting older, and how that's very much a thing to be celebrated and venerated. And that's not bad. Like, we treat our elderly pretty well down here. And I believe that we've always kept them in high regard. All right. So the aging process is a graceful one down here in the South. And then once they pass on, of course, we should still venerate them. So that's definitely a thing that I like that I have liked about exploring this whole Southern culture through country music. Oh, and there's a lot of songs, like I wrote down A Country Boy Can Survive, right? It's a very classic, famous song. And there are a lot of songs in country music about surviving and hunting and gun culture and like living off the land, you know. And there is this like very, I don't want to call it primitive, okay, but a very way of life that's here that you're taught at a young age, okay? Lots of people down here in the Deep South know how to shoot guns. We know how to hunt. We know how to track animals. We know how to cook them, okay? And that happens in like pocket areas too. Like, you go up to the Carolinas and you got crayfish, all right? And you got shrimp and lobster and stuff. And then you come down here to the South and it's all like more beastly animals, deer, okay? Things like that. Then you go down to Florida, you got the gator people and the frog people, right? The ones that hunt them. So knowing how to track and then kill and eat them things, okay? It's a thing down here. Now, again, I don't know if this is probably a thing everywhere, but there's something about Southern culture that's about surviving. So that's something I've definitely explored in this little thing I'm doing. Lots of love songs, okay? Lots of love songs. Lots of songs about Georgia, okay? Devil went down to Georgia. That's folkloric witchcraft right there, right? We're conjuring up the devil of the crossroads. We're making pacts with his ass. Johnny's over there going, Mister, I'm a witch and I can play the fiddle better than you, And then wins the pact, Like, I always ask myself, why, of all the places in the country or the world, why'd the devil come here? Why do you come here to Georgia? Like, I always used to ask myself that question. Looking at it now, it's not that he came here only. He's everywhere. But it's funny that I remember asking myself, like, why come here? But, I digress. And then, of course, Reba's song, that's the night that the lights went out in Georgia. That's a horror story, okay? That's a murdering sister horror story in a 3-minute song, okay? About a guy who was a truck driver or something and comes home to find that his wife's been cheating on him with everybody, okay? Cheating is a trope. Cheating is a huge trope in country music. So the woman's been cheating on him. She gets around or whatever. And then he's all sad and depressed. And he gets charged with murdering one of the lovers, right? And it turns out that it was the sister that murdered him, not him. So he got unlawfully charged with the murder of someone, right? And it ended up being the sister, which goes to the rest of the tropes of cheating, family ties, right? Like blood being thicker than water. I'll kill for you. Like, I love my brother so much, I would kill for him, right? It's very much I can see why that's a thing. I can see why this is a thing. I can see why this is a song. Okay. I was very much raised with the ties that bind kind of a mindset. All right. So that's another trope. Gun culture, right? Little sister knows how to aim her gun. That's because we're taught how to do that shit from a young age. And then the justice system. The justice system down here. This whole thing about don't trust your soul to no backwoods Southern lawyer. Don't let the justice system wreak out the vengeance. Do it yourself. Like the South is like this big, gigantic, egregoric vigilante. But then there's so many songs that I wrote on here that come with like a life lesson, like a moral, right? That were especially the ones that were taught in the South, okay? Like, stand by your man, Tammy Wynette, right? Stay with your man no matter fucking what, okay? That's a huge thing down here in the South. Love songs. Oh, the Brooks and Dunn song. I love this song. What's it called? Neon Moon, right? It basically, there's so many, this is back to the whiskey thing, but there's so many, I can't believe how many songs there are that tells you that when you're brokenhearted or when something, like when your freaking life is shit, you need to go to a bar. You need to drink. Like, no other outlet is good enough. You go to a bar, get you a shot of something, play some pool, be with your men folk, okay? And your life will go back to normal or some shit. I don't even know. Like, why is this such a huge thing? But then there's like I said, so many about cheating. Like Dolly Parton's Jolene. Love this song, okay? There's something about that song that just kind of catches you, you know? But there's a lot of songs that Dolly makes about loving this man, trying to stand by your man, even though he's cheating, he's a piece of shit, okay? He's a deadbeat, but, you know, he's with this other chick, and you're like, but I love him. But does he love you like he loves me? No, bitch. Go get rid of his ass. You know, like, I'm telling you that my inner child is so happy that I'm awakening some of these feelings, because like I said, growing up and you're listening to these songs, you kind of build along with your parents, okay, that do this to you. But these songs kind of make you form a moral and value compass based on all these things. Whiskey heals. Cheating is bad, but you gotta stand by your man. If you're heartbroken, go to a bar, you know, like, like grow up with your significant other. Like that Trisha Yearwood song, like she's gonna marry that boy someday. Like somehow you like have to grow up with your significant other and then do the whole Southern American dream thing, right? No matter who it hurts or if it's gonna work out, like just do it because that's the way it's supposed to happen. Like, I don't know. I think I have healed a little bit through this, but then also looked at some of the tropes and looked at some of the morals that these songs teach inside Southern culture, and try to get down to the root of what I'm still holding on to, what my inner child may still be holding on to. And it's been kind of an interesting journey. I did make a playlist for myself called Childhood Country that lists a lot of these songs, like the songs that I grew up on that have a lot of these tropes in them. I may make that public for a little while. Just, I mean, because if you're interested in what like songs I'm specifically listening to get down to the nitty gritty of all this, you might be able to like go over to my playlist and listen to some of them. So, you know, maybe I'll do that for you guys. So anyway, let me know your thoughts. If you're out, you know, let me know where in the country you're at. Okay. Like, do you have some Southern culture biases? Like, especially if you live down here in the South, I know a few of you do. Or is this something that you just like gonna, you know, like you grew up and you moved on, it's not in there anymore? I don't know. It might be because it was in me and I didn't even know. I didn't even realize it. So, you know, something to ponder. Okay. Much love, everybody.